Nitya. Oh, come on, you can do better than that. Another round of applause. Woo! Amazing. Now, don't leave yet. We would like to give you a small token, a small gift. So please come back on stage and we'll give you a small gift and a certificate because they have been dancing for the last year. As I said, they're from Delhi University, from Maitri College. Please come back on stage. And my lovely colleague, yep, here we go. Would you like to hand them out, Sanjana? What is your name?
Anjali.
Anjali? And yours?
Prachi.
Prachi?
Harshita. Prerna.
All right, Nitya Kriti, thank you so much. Thank you. Fabulous. And we've said that this is a co-production between TRI and Village Square, but you're probably wondering who and what is Village Square? So in just a moment, I would like to play you a promo that we've produced that you can see on our website, which is villagesquare.in, and you can check every day for news stories from rural India. And if we can have the sound from this monitor, do we? Go for it. So I want to ask you, what do you think of a Bagori tribal festival in Madhya Pradesh, a young stargazer from Karnataka, obsessed with astrotourism, a Kashmiri engineer who's become a potter, and the people who make red ant chutney? What do they all have in common? They've all been stories featured on villagesquare.in. Every day we're putting out news stories from rural India because, as I said, we're trying to get young urban India interested in what's happening in the hinterlands. What's really been successful in doing that is our Village Square Fellowship. And that's a really big and important part of what we're doing. We have a lot of programs where we interact directly with young people at colleges and universities, internships, fellowships. Our Village Square Fellows is a big part of that. About 9 or 10 months ago, we went through a rigorous interviewing process, and we picked 9 people who were very proud, have represented their pockets of India. Now, before I go into that, I would like to make a small announcement because somebody has come on stage and, well, handed me money, but I don't think it's for me. Darn. But I believe it's a birthday card for a young woman that's in the audience, Matri Marwa. Yes? So happy birthday, Matri. I will give this money to you because I don't think it really belongs to me. Happy birthday, dear. Woo. All right. So what I would like to do now is introduce our 9 Village Square Fellows. 3 of them, sadly, couldn't be here, but we do have 6 who are here and they're waiting in the wings, and I would like to bring them on stage. Come on up. Stage. They're terrified. They think I'm going to make them dance with headgear, but I'm not. I'm going to make them sing. Just kidding. Come on up. Come on, come on. Woo! These are young reporters and storytellers who have been making waves in their field. And by way of introduction, because they're all a little shy, well, some are more shy than others. By way of introduction, I know the lights are bright up here, aren't they? Look at him, he's putting his sunglasses on. All right, that's definitely a cool guy, right? Okay, I thought what would be nice, since they're a little hesitant to wax lyrically about the work they do, and you can read that on villagesquare.in, but I thought what we could do is go by a little themselves and about the stories they cover. But I also thought we should have a little fun. So I also have questions. Questions. How can I say this without the microphone popping? Questions of preference. So, Pranay, I'll start with you because you're standing right next to me. Don't run away. You can't run away. You can't run away. But I am going to make you stand. You can put your bag off on the side if you don't want to hold it, but it's up to you. Okay. So first, I would like your name, full name, and where you're based. What areas you as a Village Square fellow have been covering.
So I'm Pranay Tripathi, and I'm from Indore, but it's been 2.5 years since I'm living in a very tiny, small tribal hamlet called Shukravasa, which is located in Devas district of Madhya Pradesh.
Awesome. Are you ready for the quick fire round? Ready? All right. We're going to have to get close together because I didn't give you a mic. We could have a mic, but let's do it this way. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Red or blue?
Red.
Chocolate or mithai? Okay, undecided. You have to answer as quick as possible. First that comes to your head. Oh, wonderful.
Thank you.
Just keep it a little bit far. Wonderful. Okay, fabulous. Thank you. Roti or rice?
Rice.
Folk music or rock music?
Rock. Folk. Folk rock.
Okay, one answer only, no. Prose or poetry?
Poetry.
Oh, sari or kurta?
Sari. Yes.
Sandals or heels?
Sandals.
Traveling by train or plane?
Train.
Politics or culture?
Politics or?
Culture.
Well, they are same, but politics.
I like that. They're the same. I think they're the same too. Some of the politics can look very culturally at times. All right, and now for a more straightforward question, Pranay.
Yes.
Why did you get into journalism and
So
storytelling?
So actually, I got into filmmaking, but there were a lot of limitations because all the stories I saw, it was very difficult to film it, given the constraints, given the limitations. But I had to write. So yes, journalism came into my way.
Awesome. And your 9 months at Village Square, what's the story that you think is your favorite?
It is actually an upcoming story, which would be my favorite, which is actually based on a red light area in Madhya Pradesh. And there are a lot of things happening there, which is still uncovered, undiscovered. That the people, they are coming into mainstream through sports.
Interesting.
So yes, that is the story.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you very much. Why don't you pass the mic on? A big round of applause, please, for Pranay. Okay.
Yeah.
Amar, who can't stand the light.
Hi. Hi.
All right. Why don't you start by telling us your full name and the area that you cover?
Yeah, my name is Amir Malik, and I cover Western Rajasthan mostly for Village Square. And yeah.
Awesome. Are you ready for your questions of preference?
Sure.
Ready, set? Cats or dogs?
Cats.
Pink or purple? Chocolate or mithai? Roti or rice?
Roti.
Folk music or rock music?
Folk.
Prose or poetry?
Political prose.
Are you a politician there? Wonder Woman or Batgirl?
Both.
Sandals or heels?
Sandals.
Traveling by train or plane?
Plane.
Oh, you surprised me. Politics or culture?
Political culture.
There we go. And now we want to know, why did you get into storytelling and journalism?
I wanted to cover people. So basically, their stories, and probably because of that, I connected myself with literature, and that way, journalism, because it is directly attached and sorry about that. It's directly to the people and their livelihood and their lifestyles, what they do, everyday life of people. So journalism for me is how you tell your stories. So my storytelling begins with people and end with people. That is why I came into journalism blending.
And a little insight, we'll be hearing a little more from you, because one of the bands tonight, our opening act, came to us because of a story that you've done.
Oh yeah.
Yes. And can I now know what your favorite, besides that, what your favorite Village Square, what has been the story that's affected you the most during your time on Village Square?
Actually, it's not mine story. It's my colleague Ashwarya's story, who is not here today. One of the stories where two elderly people in their 60s, they fall in love and start living together. That was one of my favorite stories on Village Square so far.
Yeah, that was a lovely story. I hope you guys catch that one. Awesome. Big round of applause, please, for our media fellow Amir. Amulia.
Yes.
Can you please tell us your full name and the area that you cover?
I'm Amulya. I'm covering Karnataka, mostly two districts, which is Dakshin Kannada and Udupi, for Village Square.
All right, are you ready for your quick fire round of preferences? I'm going to mix it up a bit. Sorry or kurta?
Sorry.
Roti or rice?
Rice.
Prose or poetry?
Depends, actually.
Chocolate or mithai?
Chocolate.
Cats or dogs?
Both.
Ooh, red or blue?
Blue.
Movies or TV shows?
This is very difficult. Again, depends.
All right. Sandals or heels?
Sandals.
Traveling by train or plane?
Train.
Politics or culture?
As Ami said, political culture.
I think we're going to have a lot of that today. Wonderful. Now, can you please tell me what was your journey? How did you begin to realize that what you wanted to do was tell people's stories?
I think I've always known that I wanted to tell stories, because my background, even though I come from fiction writing, I write a lot of poetry, I write essays, and more than people, I like to deal with ideas. And for me, journalism has been long form reporting and dealing with narratives as such. How this story can be compellingly told through very strong narratives. So that's how I come from, that sort of tradition, like storytelling, fiction, and literary tradition. Yeah.
Fabulous. Hands together for Amulia, please. Woo. Okay, Jyoti.
Doesn't she have to tell one of her favorite stories?
Oh, your favorite. Sorry, I'm being told that yes. What's your favorite? Well,
Yeah, I think my favorite story is one where I visited Udupi. There's a handloom association where a lot of local people have tried to revive this very particular practice that is endemic to Udupi. And there, because of climate change, the thing that makes them unique has been getting affected by increasing temperatures. That's one of my favorite stories, because it seems it's so small that just a sort of adding a glue is being changed, that whole practice is being changed. But that whole practice being changed is actually, a blow to their tradition. So that is my favorite story.
excellent. Thank you so much. And now we'll move on to Jyoti. Can you please tell me your full name and the area that you cover?
So, hi everyone, I am Jyoti Thakur and I majorly cover northern India like Uttarakhand, Bihar and Rajasthan. Primarily.
Excellent. Quick, cats or dogs?
Never dogs, so cat.
Pink or purple? Folk music or rock music?
Folk. Always.
Prose or poetry?
Both.
Wonder Woman or Batgirl?
Neither of them, but okay, Wonder Woman.
Sari or kurta?
Kurta, always.
Politics or culture?
Politics.
All right. Oh, politics exclusively. There we go. All right. Can you tell me what was your journey into journalism and what's been your favorite Village Square story you've covered?
So I guess I talk a lot, and my parents say I talk back a lot as well. So they never liked me talking and speaking. And I thought that before, entering into how journalism empowers a lot of people and how my stories would empower, I thought it would be empowering for me because I would be able to earn well and write well and live independently. But now I realize that's not happening, considering how low journalism pays. So, but yeah, I am making my ends meet. So.
Parents beware. Talk about speaking truth to power.
Yeah.
Excellent. And really quickly, your favorite Village Square story?
As Amir mentioned, one of Aishwarya's stories is one of my favorites. And apart from, if I have to choose one of my stories, it would be the forest guide Surajbai Meena's story. She has been a very empowering and very inspiring woman to me. So yeah, her story.
Awesome. Hands together for Jyoti, everyone. All right, Monica, where are you from and what area do you cover?
Hi, my name is Monica Marandi, and I'm basically from Jharkhand. And in Village Square, mostly cover the tribal women's story, especially from the ground, and to know how the story came up.
Okay, so then quick round of quick preference questions. Wonder Woman or Batgirl?
I think both are same. Every Wonder Woman is a bad girl.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Pink or purple?
Purple.
Chocolate or mithai?
Mithai.
Movies or TV shows?
Movies.
Politics or culture?
Both.
There we go. All right. Why did you come into this field and what's been your favorite Village Square story that you've covered?
So basically I came here because in mainstream media there's a lack of tribal people, like tribal journalists there. And because I came from that background, so I want to cover and give voice to them. So that's my most reason. They go ground and research properly and come up with their story, and including whatever they want to say and whatever their idea want to convey.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. Hands together for Monica. And last but not least, oh, sorry. Oh, one of your favorite stories, very quickly, that you've covered on. Well, I mean, you touched on the topic, but specific. See, they're watching each other. See, they're journalists. They're keeping an eye on me. Okay.
So basically, the Sanskriti did this story. Gidda one, the male artist who play Gidda, and I love their story, and seriously inspire me a lot. At least I can do such kind of story in future.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, name and area you cover.
Hi, I'm Sanskriti Talwar and I cover Punjab for Village Square.
Awesome. Ooh, some Punjabi clapping over there. Sari or kurta?
Kurta.
Chocolate or mithai?
Mithai.
Roti or rice?
Roti.
Cats or dogs?
Cats.
Wonder Woman or Batgirl?
Wonder Woman.
Sandals or heels?
Sandals.
Traveling by train?
Plane. And if I have money, then plane.
Politics, just traveling in general, basically, right? Politics or culture?
Well, both.
All right. Please tell us how you began this career and what your favorite Village Square story has been.
I didn't want to continue engineering, so I decided to get into
Beware
writing.
engineers.
Also, I felt that I would learn more on ground by learning about people's stories. So that's how I got into journalism. And my favorite story is about the queer couple I covered in Punjab that comes from different background. One is from Dalit and one is from OBC. And I love that story because those two trusted me with it. And yeah, they also give me a space to stay at their place at night when I had nowhere to go to.
Wow.
So yeah, I actually love that story.
You really embedded in that story.
Yeah, I am.
That's great. That's fabulous. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
A huge round of applause for Village Square. And I would now like to call onto stage their mentor, a very well-known journalist who's been over in Al Jazeera, reporting for Al Jazeera, here in India as well for Outlook, and he's written a book as well that you can also look up. Ruben Banerjee, can you please come and say a few words?
Yeah, hi, good evening and namaskar. I would like to keep myself very brief here, as it is for the past 9 months. I've been lecturing them so much, and if I lecture them today, they will chase me away. But still, I need to talk about Transform Rural India Foundation and the phenomenal work that they do. And ever since I have been associated with TRIF, I've been particularly impressed with their initiative of bridging this urban-rural divide. And Village Square comes in there because that's very critical in TRIF's journey attempt to bridge this divide. And this Rural Media Fellowship was a natural extension of this initiative of TRIF and Village Square. So if you haven't seen Village Square please check it out. There are some lovely stories there and some phenomenal good work that's happening. So this fellowship started 9 months back, and how time flies. We tried to create a kind of a virtual newsroom so that all these young boys and girls get a taste of what a real newsroom is. So we actually, come to think of it, we took it very seriously, and they were serious enough, and they allowed me. For past 9 months, every Saturday we would have an edit meet on the phone, and we would discuss, debate, and of course there was a bit of disagreements too, and that is what makes any newsroom livelier, and that is what we did. And at the end of 9 months, now these fellows are almost they are passing out. When I look back, I am myself amazed with the kind of work these guys have done. Some of their stories have been absolutely awe-inspiring. In fact, check out, one of the reasons why we are here is we are bringing out a coffee table book with some of their best stories, and it's fabulous. This book, it's a collection, but I also have a regret. The regret is there are far many stories which actually haven't found mention in this coffee table book. One of the stories which we very recently did was, and it's unbelievable that it can happen 75 years after India's independence, a village in Madhya Pradesh got its first newspaper. A copy of a newspaper was finally reached a village. What a fantastic story it is. And then there are so many other stories that comes to my mind. But anyway, possibly we'll capture more inspiring stories in the next volume of this coffee table book. So when as they move out, I wish them well, and I'm preparing to invite and welcome the fresh batch of fellows. It's very important they keep doing good work. Stories are very important to me. Stories are the source of my information, and which allows me to understand whatever that is happening around me better. And I think in India, we need to understand each other better. So more power to them. Thank you.
Thank you. And please, as Ruben mentioned, we have two big announcements to make right now. One is, first, I would like to bring my colleague Sanjana on stage. She's the manager of Village Square, and she and Ruben are going to talk about the fact that applications are open to replace them. They're not replaceable, but for the next batch of media fellows. Sanjana, would you like to say a few words about that? And then I would love to tell you more about the coffee table book that Ruben mentioned. Sanjana, the application.
Yeah, only 2 minutes that the fellowship opens from second cohort of the Village Square Fellowship opens today, and there are some QR codes you can see around which says Village Square commencing on 1st November. I'll request whoever is interested, just scan that QR code and apply. There's a small process. There's a Google form which you have to fill, and followed by a written test which will be done by people here. You have already seen that how serious they are, and I'm happy that we are launching it here because Dilli Haat is full of those kind of stories which we want to cover on Village Square. So we are very privileged for that. And after the written test, we have one interview, and after that interview, you will be selected to be a part of the Village Square community. And I welcome every applicant with a wholeheartedness that you will be gonna enjoy this journey with all of us. Thank you.
So please check that out and spread the word. And as if the stage is not crowded enough, it is my great honor to welcome our very special guest. He is one of India's most renowned filmmakers. He's a fashion designer and an artist. Can you guys all put your hands together, please, for Muzaffar Ali, who will help us unveil. Please, sir, if you could come to the stage and if we could bring the book, and you could do us the honor of unveiling this wonderful coffee table book of stories from every corner of a village square. Sanjana, if you would like. Sir, if you could unveil this book. There we go. Fabulous. It's a gorgeous book. It's been put together by one of the hottest designers as well, Piali, who is here in the audience somewhere, so hands out to her as well. And thank you so much. Thank you, media. Thank you, Village Square Fellows. Sir, if you will stay on stage, we're going to have a wonderful conversation where you will, thank you, Ruben. Thank you, Sanskriti, Amalia, Jyoti, Monica, Amir, and later, yes. Thank you, sir. If I could also bring my colleague on stage, and we will mic up. Just give us 1 minute if you would like to have a seat. Fabulous. And if I could bring my colleague on stage, Pallavi Srivastav, and she is the Associate Director of Village Square. She helps edit just about every story that goes out. Her eyeballs have gone on it. Thank you. I will leave you guys to have a discussion so that we can take this forward.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us here. So thank you for taking your time to have this conversation with us. We're really privileged to have you here. And we like his insights, and if you would talk about his experience about how rural India is portrayed in Indian movies and fashion, because those are very big part of the industries for several decades now. So you have been depicting rural themes and people, it has been a constant in most of your creations, whether it was Gaman or Anjuman movies, or even to a large extent, Umrao Jan was rooted in the hinterland. So is that a subject that is very, very close to you?
Well, I think being the key word. And unless you're not rooted, you don't understand the ethos and the pain of a particular area in a particular culture. And fortunately, or whatever you may say, I was born in Lucknow, and there's a place called Kotwara, 100 miles from there. And my father was deeply concerned with that village, and he always wanted to make a difference there. And that concern, I think, found some kind of seed in me. And my first film was Gaman. That is based on why people leave villages and come to cities. So that was the first story. It was a question. It was a political question. It was also a kind of a poetic question. So Gaman was my first film. And if I had not made Gaman, maybe I would have been a different person. So I think your story is basically, your characters are part of a story, and there's a continuity of characters in your life, in the art of your telling a story, how they change, they age, how they feel, and how they react to various things. So I think that makes a lot of difference, and that was what Gaman was all about. And same thing was with my other film called Agaman. It was on the, again, sugarcane growing in my region. And I realized that sugarcane was really the most exploitative product, agricultural produce in the world, So I delved deep into that, and we created a story around that, a feature-length story. And I used a lot of poetry of Faiz to underline that exploitation, to underline the predicament of the farmer and how he was being exploited by the whole colonial and business systems. You know? So I think we need to understand how colonial and business systems make inroads into rural areas and how they change the whole kind of, what shall I say, the whole cultural continuity and legacy of that region.
Your creations, your movies, be quite realistic portrayal of rural life, but somewhere the criticism always is that Indian cinema either whitewashes it to show just lush yellow sarson ke khet and glittering ghagras that women wear, or it's what again critics call poverty porn, that we only show the dark side. Do you think that's accurate portrayal, or is the film industry doing enough to show what rural life actually is to the audience?
I think the film industry is evolving, it's growing, but possibly not in the way we would like to see it grow, And the growth has to be organic. The growth has to understand and feel the pain. Unless you feel the pain and the helplessness of the people, you can't present that pain. And therefore, being open, being sensitive to the rural predicament is very important. And that is what changes the language of telling stories and the language of moving images.
A very strong parallel cinema movement, which again showed the challenges and the issues that the rural communities, the marginalized people face. We had movies like Mandi and Manthan and Ankur. So, do you think it served its purpose? Do you think we still need that kind of cinema now to show the stark reality to people?
I think now more than ever, because I think we need to put certain things into a context, and I think people who think with their heart and who reason with their mind, they should be as real as possible. Maybe. And these real children, maybe there were lots here on the stage, who have acquired the art of telling stories through moving images. They want to do it themselves. Today, I think film is everybody's cup of tea in our hands. So your sensitivity to images, imagery, and pain, and the human predicament has to be sensitized. It doesn't need much money or anything like that. It needs outfits like these, where people are made to think, where people are made to feel, and where people are driven to express.
Right. As you said now, with smartphones and everything, it's within everyone's reach to show their lives to everybody internationally also. So, we have people dancing, we have people showing their cookery skills, people who are from the rural background, who are set in Indian villages. So in that kind of an open, expression that people have, which is accessible to everybody, where does Indian cinema see itself going?
I think India has to understand what is art. Somehow we miss the art part of things, you know what I mean? And we just do things for the sake of doing things. We do them to become popular. We do them to gain more kind of enthusiasm in the world. But I think art is really the essence of connecting, reaching out, and creating a ecosystem, a culture where we can feel each other. So I think somewhere down the line you need to be taught, you need to be sensitive excited and they get carried away. But I think somewhere you must understand what is the essence of humanism and how humanism and art can create a kind of a balance in your everyday life. You know? I think that needs inspiration. And without inspiration, there is no magic.
So what inspired you to make a movie like Gaman, which was a very, very and
I
as
think
your first movie?
all art forms are connected. And if you're not connected with one art form, you cannot reach the next art form. So maybe the most important art form for me was poetry. So it was really poetry that made me think. And I was in Aligarh, I was growing up in poetry. I was reading the poetry of Faiz and was reading the poetry of people in Aligarh. And that made me think of larger realities. The other thing is that I think if you're a painter, you can create kind of canvases on celluloid, you know. So I think you need to understand several things, and then the whole power and the ethos of music. I think all these things come by art.
So Gaman dealt with the issue of migration of a rural youth to a big city, and you've shown how he is constantly in this inner state of turmoil, and he is longing to go back to his village, and but obviously for employment reasons, not he life in a big city. If you were to make Gaman again today, would it be any different? Because now, video calls have made things easier for the migrant population. They are constantly in touch with people back home. Connectivity is better. But a youth today who has migrated from his tiny village and probably is living in Delhi or Mumbai, do you think he would still be feeling कि सीने में जलन आंखों में तूफान सा क्यों है?
Well, I think when this COVID happened and people were returning to their villages, that was another dimension. I mean, if I were to make it again, it'll be definitely much more funny. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of pain in laughter. You know, so I think I would like to treat it that way with the reasons for leaving and the reasons for going back could be quite stupid and funny, you know, because I think nothing has remained as real as it was. You know? Mm-hmm. So, and I think people are questioning things in a different way. You know? Like when I was making Gaman, Smita used to say, आप अगर इतना महसूस करते हैं यहाँ के लोगों के लिए, तो आप यहाँ रहते क्यों नहीं, कुछ करते क्यों नहीं? तो उस वक्त मेरे समझ में आया कि मैं क्या कह सकता हूँ, क्या कर सकता हूँ. लेकिन आज हम वहाँ रह भी सकते हैं, कुछ कर भी सकते हैं और उस कहानी को एक दोबारा नए तरीके से पेश भी कर सकते हैं.
Right. So coming to कि कुछ कर भी सकते हैं, you have done a lot for the artisans through the Kotwara initiative, the chikankari workers in Uttar Pradesh, and that is a craft that has come to the limelight and in the mainstream a lot over the years. Besides some other art forms, handloom and hand weaving art forms, there is ikat, of course, there is Kashmiri embroidery, Banarsi zari is one of the primary ones out there. And still there are so many handloom and handicraft art forms there which are still in need of revival. Do you think the fashion industry is doing its bit to bring those artisans to the forefront?
I think definitely they are doing their bit and we have to all do our bit. In fact, I'm not just attracted to one form of art, craft. I've made 18 films on different forms of textiles and craft. And each craft is a story, it's a legend, it's the whole association with a culture. It's a deep connect with rivers, it's connect with people, it's connect with their aspirations. I think once you enter into a craft, you are entering into a whole world, you know what I mean? So wherever you go, I mean, I've made a film on Bidri. I mean, Bidri is the most mind-blowing craft and how it's created in a place called Bidar, which is really the most...
The metal craft,
So there are lots of these places where craft was there and it's now dwindling. But at the same time, I think we need to globalize craft. We need to add a sharp sense of contemporariness to craft. We need to excite people about how forms and colors and shapes could be improvised, but at the same time, don't lose the aesthetics. So I think craft is a wonderful ocean of experience. I mean, film on one side, but craft for me is a different world altogether.
Coming back to films, what is the one character in Hindi cinema from a rural area that is your favorite?
There are lots of characters, I mean, from my own film, there are all these rural characters.
Right.
And I think without these characters, there's no film, there's no story, You have to reach out to them and they reach out to you. So it's really their helplessness and their journey and how they can make a difference.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time. It was wonderful having this conversation with you, sir. Thank you for sharing your insights. We are really thankful that you have taken out time. And I guess it's time for us to wind up this conversation here. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ali. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Another round of applause, please. And I would like to call our Village Square Fellows back on stage. As I said, we have more storytelling, but also one very important part of being a fellow, it's a funny phrase, isn't it? Of being part of a fellowship is, of course, the certification. So this can call the Village Square Fellows back on stage. I can see we've already lost 3 to the crowds. Finding good stories, no doubt. My colleague, Gauri from Transform Rural India, will please give the certification to Amir, Jyoti, and Pranay. Thank you guys so much. And thank you for all your stories. I hope that you tell everybody to apply for the next round. And also, we do have the coffee table book there if you'd like to flip through it. As I say, it's beautiful. Please come and have a look at it. It is for sale. You can sign up for the pre-orders right over here at this table. I would like Amar to stay on stage. Thank you guys, and Pranay, because I want to talk to you about the next act, because now we have, in a few minutes, we're going to be getting ready for our musical acts. I'll come here so that my microphone is not catching the wind. And we have 2 bands that I'm really excited about. I got very excited about these bands when I was editing and seeing these articles that were going out on Village Square and thinking, wow, this is interesting. I really want to hear this band. So I'm really, really happy that we've been able to bring them together. A very, very poignant, interesting story and journey. So first, tell us how you came upon it. What was that moment that you first heard about them? And what was their story that inspired you to call up Ruben and in the edit meeting say, guys, I got to pitch the story. It's great.
Thank you, Lindy. I and Sanjana went to a conference, unlearning conference somewhere in Rajasthan. And there I saw one of the musicians playing djembe, and constantly he was playing. I was just noticing who is this person, because a lot of people like how we are here. Then I go to him and introduce myself. Hello, I am Amir, and I have been noticing you, seeing you. What do you do? Sorts. Then I, out of curiosity, I asked him, where did you learn? And then he says, in jail. I was like, how can someone learn music in jail? Then I also have certain like how the prison system in India based to deliver justice, but mostly seeking revenge. So I was like, this is one of the proudest moment for someone to learn music in jail and seek emancipation by being captivated by the bars of prison. I thought this is nice. Then I come to Sanjana and I tell Sanjana, I got a story to tell and I really need your assistance in that. Then she's like, okay, talk to sir. I pitched it to Ruben sir and he was fascinated by it, and that is how I landed up on this story of Sunil, Ashish and also Shweb. These were the three people who introduced themselves to instrument learning by being in the Udaipur Central Jail, which facilitates through several certain organizations like Shikshantar Andolan and others. And now finally, I thought of inviting them to Delhi because I thought like if someone has, they formed a band immediately after they came out of the jail on bail or after completing their sentence term. So it was also on me to now introduce them to the world. Like, look, all those who go into prison are not meant to be criminal, but there are some circumstances which land them into prison. And I also have in jails and because of the certain political things that happened in the country. But this is a fascinating cultural thing which I see, and it cultural notion that we have. So Lindy, these are the reasons that I wanted them to introduce to all of us. That's how I invited them to our program.
And one of my favorite lines from your story was from the guitarist who says, I realized my calling was to be a guitarist and not a gangster.
Yeah.
So
he was Sunil. He's here. He will tell us more about himself also. But another line which, this line you have said, another line which is not in the story, but which is in my mind is he actually asked the judge to give him an extension of 1 more year so that he can learn guitar.
oh my. So wait, somebody wanted to stay in prison.
He wanted to stay in prison only to learn guitar.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. How did that not make it into the story? That's amazing.
Because of the
word
editorial
count.
guidelines and all that.
I know that it is. Well, and now you've got to say the name of the band, and of course everybody here will know what it means.
Yeah, basically, so while they were in the prison, there was this band called Out of the Box, which facilitated them learning by giving them instruments, guitar, djembe, and cajon, other instruments, by training them vocally. So within prison, they were running this band called Out of the Box. After they came out of the box, they formed a new band called Naya Severa, meaning New Dawn.
Perfect. Perfect. That's very apropos, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
awesome. So this is the new dawn, and it's perfect, I think, for a rural renaissance. That's the question we're asking. Is India on the precipice, on the edge of a rural renaissance? I think we'll have our answer at the end of the India Rural Colloquy.